Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam, and in today's video we are finally going to be doing my December wrap-up. I was out of town visiting family for the holidays, so this is the first time I was able to film this video. So doing it just a bit late, but that's okay. In December I ended up reading 9 books. So not too bad. I feel like I had a much slower reading month than anticipated. Starting out the month, I read Road Trip with a Vampire by Jenna Levine, and I rated this 3 stars. This is the My Vampire series trilogy, I believe, and I was really excited about this one. I know that Ellen Catherine really likes this series, and so I was really excited for this one to release. And this one was just okay to me. In this one, we're following Peter and Zelda is a witch who is trying to not use her powers anymore, but is kind of having some complications related to that. And we're also following Peter, who is a vampire with amnesia. And so we're kind of following this mystery road trip plot of them trying to figure out Peter's memories. And for me, I just really didn't feel connected to the characters at all. I don't know if it was because I was reading this while on vacation and I wasn't necessarily wanting to be reading this book specifically, or if it was actually the book itself. But this one unfortunately just didn't work for me the way that I thought it was going to, but it was still a 3-star. I still had a fun time. There were some cute and funny moments. But yeah, I just wasn't quite connected to the story. The second book that I read, or I guess I more finished off this one, was Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is the second book to Bride. I was pretty excited for this one because I know that a lot of people were talking it up and saying how great it was, but I mean, for me, I didn't love Bride to begin with, so when I went into Mate, I was definitely more intrigued about Serena and the wolf pack dynamic, but I saw the twist a mile away, and I don't even read, I haven't read that many werewolf romances. I think I've only read 3, including this one. So it was just very obvious to me, and the stakes didn't feel very high, and the reasoning why our main characters couldn't be together, I really did not like. That just gave me the ick. So yeah, unfortunately 3 stars. I feel like for me, Ellie Hazelwood is really starting to get hit or miss. So definitely just going to continue reading her books from the library. I am definitely always intrigued because some of her books are definitely some of my favorites. Definitely still a good book, and I had a fun time. But again, it just didn't quite work for me personally. Next, I read Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This is the 4th and final book in the Rose Hill series. Based on what people were saying about this one, I was really excited for it. I really thought that I was going to enjoy it, but unfortunately it fell a little bit flat for me. This was a 4-star, which of course is still an amazing rating, but for me, definitely on the lower end for Elsie Silver. Most of her books are 4.5 or 5 stars. I really loved the emotional maturity of Gwen specifically, but there were some things that were just a little too out there for me personally. The dynamic and kind of backstory about Trip, I just didn't like and didn't work for me at all. I did not like the dynamic. I did not like kind of the push and pull vibe. I don't want to necessarily say too much and give it away, but this is ex-boyfriend's dad, and based on what I heard people saying, I thought it was going to be less of a plot point than it actually was. And so for me, I just couldn't root for the characters. I also wish there was more of, I guess, the end climax. I wish that we got to see more of that, more of our main character's backstory throughout the book, because I feel like that was really interesting. And also Clyde just broke my heart. I absolutely loved him. Definitely some good elements and some elements that I didn't love quite so much, but overall I love Elsie Silver, and I'm very excited to get into Emerald Lake when that comes out. Next, I read Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver, and I actually also rated this 4 stars. This was definitely my favorite of the series. I really liked our characters, even though they were making the worst decisions. I still love them together and I thought it was very entertaining. They also had some really cozy hobbies, which I thought was a nice addition, or I guess counter to the serial killer darker theme of the series. So it was just a little bit of an opposite that brought in some humor. I know that I saw people had this book split up to be a tandem read with the other two books in the series. And when I was first reading this, I didn't understand how it fit in, but then in like the second half, I think there was a lot more occurrences that dealt with events of the other two books. So I do see how that would be a lot of fun to get sort of the other side of the POV or what else was happening in those moments. And even though I read the two other books a bit ago, not as much Leather and Luck. I read that pretty recently, but Butcher and Blackbird I read quite a while ago. And I still, with how Scythe and Sparrow was written and the past events were brought up, I was able to piece together and kind of remember everything that was going on. So that one was really fun, and honestly, I thought a great ending to the series. Next, I picked up Snow Place Like Home by Laura Pavlov. This is the first book in the Amazon interconnected winter Christmassy short stories. They seem to do one of these pretty frequently throughout the year. I know there was one for Valentine's Day, one for Halloween, and now another one for Christmas. And I think they've done these for the past 2 years where different authors each write a short story for this collection, and it's just a cute, cozy story. So this one was the first one, and it was by Laura Pavlov. This one took place on like a winter wedding, which was super cringy and sort of ridiculous. I just could not believe the family for doing this and making all of the guests and their family members dress up and do some of the activities that they made them. Yeah, definitely very cringy, but I think it was still very cute. The romance was pretty convenient, but I think it was done pretty well considering this was only like 50 pages or so. So you can't ask for much, but I did enjoy this one. I thought it was pretty sweet. Next, I read Love and Other Serial Killers by Brynne Weaver. This is like a bonus epilogue, essentially, to the Butcher and Blackbird series, Ruinous Love trilogy. I think that's what it's called. And it very much was just an extended epilogue. It took place pretty much right after the events of Scythe and Sparrow, and just continued their murderous game that they play, and I thought it was really fun. I do wish that we got to see, and also I kind of expected that we were going to get to see POVs from all of our characters, but it did really just focus on the characters from Butcher and Blackbird. But I really liked how everything tied together. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was a nice closeout to the series. So that was also 3 stars. I don't know if I mentioned, but Snow Place Like Home was also 3 stars. It's very hard to rate these short stories because I think this one was also like somewhere between 50 and 100 pages. And so again, very short. Next, I listened to Bound by Ali Hazelwood. This is currently like a Spotify exclusive audio book. I thought this was like a short story, but it was like pretty much a full length book. This was like a 7-hour audiobook. And I really enjoyed the first half of this book. It focused a lot of the love of books and historical texts and yeah, just like love of books, really. And then it very quickly changed in the second half, and I feel like the romance kind of came out of nowhere and the ending was very, very rushed. We also in the beginning got a full cast of like friends and these kind of quirky characters that all worked at this antique shop. And I feel like we were just setting up to have such a fun, whimsical time with them. And then we pretty much never saw them again. I definitely didn't know much going into this one, and it was fun to figure out what was happening kind of along with the characters. And I definitely got a couple surprises, but yeah, it just kind of fell flat for me at the second half. So again, this is another 3 stars. I do think the audiobook was done pretty well. I definitely enjoyed it. And I listened to like the exclusive edition. So there was different cover art for different sections of the chapters and each of the chapters on their own. And the art was very beautiful. So it was a fun listen. Next, I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and this was what a ride. I rated this 2.5 stars. I could not get behind Millie. I couldn't figure out how old she was supposed to be because even though she spent so many years in prison, she just read so young. It was hard to root for anybody. I, at one point or another, hated every single one of the characters in this book, which I feel like was the point, but it was in a way that I just couldn't get behind any of their motivations. And some of the choices that the characters made, although make more sense once we get more information later on, I just could not root for them in any sense after that. That's just something that I don't stand for. And so it was very hard for me to, yeah, just root for anybody essentially. I was definitely shocked by the twist. I thought I knew exactly what was going to happen based on what I had read in the first part and also some of the things that I have heard other people talk about this book. And boy, was I wrong. I will say I did have fun reading this, and I definitely never wanted to put it down, but I just can't say that I necessarily enjoyed the content, if that makes sense. I'm definitely going to continue this series and read the rest of the books just because I'm nosy, and I also do want to watch the movie. Hopefully it comes onto streaming sooner than later because I can't go and sit in a movie theater anymore. That's too much work. I would much rather be comfy and cozy in my own house. And the last book that I read in December was Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval series, and I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I rated this 3.5 stars. I feel like knowing more about what Caraval is about and what this world is about made me be able to fall into this world a little bit easier this time around. Now, it has been quite a while since I read Caraval, but honestly, there's not a ton that happens in that book. So I was very easily able to pick up what happened in that book and how it kind of leads into this one. I did really enjoy, there's kind of a mystery aspect in our main character, Donatella, trying to find something or find a piece of information. So it was fun learning a bunch of different pieces of information and more about the world and meet some new characters that I'm very excited about. I'm definitely excited to finish off this series and be able to get into the Once Upon a Broken Heart series because I did just really feel the whimsy in this one. There are definitely some parts that didn't feel like much was happening. It was a lot of I'm going to go talk to this person and I'm going to go do this instead of actually seeing the characters do these tasks or go to these different places. I feel like it was a lot of telling and not necessarily showing at some parts, but it was definitely very fun, fantastical, whimsical, and I could not tell who to trust. But that is all of the 9 books that I read in the month of December. I think we wrapped up pretty decently, finished off a couple series and also started a couple more. But overall, I think I had a great reading year for 2025 and I can't wait to read for 2026 and see what kind of books I end up falling in love with. Let me know down below what your favorite book that you read in December or what favorite book that you read all of 2025. I would love to chat with you and also maybe add more books to my TBR. If you would like to find me on other corners of the internet, all of my links are linked down below. I hope that you have a great rest of your week and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.